Hi everyone, welcome to Ava Revenge Whispers. I always knew my sister would find a way to steal my thunder, even on my own wedding day. That's just who. Isabella is the center of the universe, at least in our family's eyes, but I never thought she'd go as far as taking my actual wedding dress. I'm Sophia, and I've spent 29 years being the other daughter, the one who's practical instead of vivacious, who's reliable instead of exceptional. Tonight at Isabella's engagement party, I'm watching it all play out again like a movie I've seen 900 times. Oh, darling, you look absolutely radiant. Mom gushed, adjusting Isabella's perfectly styled hair. Ashton is such a catch. I knew the moment I met him that he was the one for you. I take another sip of champagne, trying not to remember how she barely acknowledged my engagement to Nicholas 6 months ago. He seems nice enough.
Was all she'd managed.
Then, Sophia, honey, could you grab more appetizers from the kitchen? Dad calls out, not even looking in my direction. Of course, even at Isabella's engagement party, I'm relegated to catering duty. I'll help, Nicholas whispers, squeezing my hand.
God.
I love him for that. In the kitchen, I start arranging crackers and cheese on a platter, while Nicholas opens another bottle of wine. You okay? He asks, his voice soft with concern. I'm fine. It's just I pause, searching for words that won't make me sound like a jealous teenager. Sometimes I wonder if they even see me at all. Hey, he pulls me close, his chest warm against my cheek. I see you. You're the most amazing person I know. A burst of laughter from the living room interrupts our moment. I peek around the corner to see Isabella holding quart champagne glass in hand, telling some story about her perfect proposal. And then she's saying Ashton got down on one knee right there in Central Park, with the string quartet playing our song. It's like a fairy tale. Mom sighs, wiping away a tear. I remember Nicholas's proposal, simple, sincere, and perfect in its own way. He'd cooked dinner at home, nervous and adorable, and asked me while we slow danced in our tiny living room. Mom's response, "At least you're finally settling down, Sophia." Isabella's voice cuts through my thoughts. Where are those appetizers? Everyone starving? I grab the platter and head back out, plastering on my best supportive sister smile. That's when I hear it, the conversation that changes everything. Speaking of the wedding, Noah's saying to Mom, her voice dropped to a stage whisper. I was thinking about Sophia's dress. I freeze just outside the doorway, the one she bought for her wedding. Mom asks, it really is beautiful, right? And she's not getting married until next year anyway. My wedding's in 3 months, and that dress would be perfect for my garden ceremony. Plus, it's just sitting in her closet. Well, I'm sure she wouldn't mind. Mom says you are her sister after all, and it would look stunning on you. My hands tighten on the platter. The dress I spent months searching for, the one I'd fallen in love with instantly, the one I was saving up to pay for myself because Mom wouldn't help with the costs like she's doing for Isabella. I'll talk to her about it tomorrow. Isabella continues. She'll understand, she always does. I walk into the room, setting down the platter with a little more force than necessary. The crackers jump and a few heads turn. Everything okay, sweetie? Dad asks, finally looking at me. I meet Isabella's eyes across the room. She has the grace to look slightly guilty, but there's that familiar, entitled gleam in her expression, the one that says she knows she'll get her way. She always does. Everything's fine. I say, my voice steady, despite the rage building in my chest. Just perfect. Samantha, my best friend, catches my eye from across the room. She's known me long enough to read the tension in my shoulders, the tight set of my jaw. She raises an eyebrow in question, and I give her the slightest shake of my head. Not now, because now, watching Isabella bask in the adoration of our family, something shifts inside me. Years of being overshadowed, overlooked, and taken for granted crystallize into a single clarifying moment of purpose. My sister wants my wedding dress, fine, but this time things won't go the way she expects. This time I'm done being the understanding one, the practical one, the one who always steps aside. This time Isabella's perfect day is going to be anything but perfect. The next morning I was folding laundry when the doorbell rang. I already knew who it was. Isabella never could wait when she wanted something. Sophia, she breezed past me into my apartment. Designer handbag swinging. I need to talk to you about something important. I kept folding coffee. No time, listen. I've been thinking about your wedding dress. She perched on my couch, all perfect posture and practice smile. You know how my wedding's coming up first, right? And that dress would be absolutely perfect for my garden theme. You want my wedding dress? I set down the towel. I was folding, turning to face her fully, just to borrow. You're not using it for months anyway. She leaned forward, eyes wide with practiced innocence. Come on, Allie. You know how much this means to me. Before I could respond, another knock at the door. Mom, of course. Isabella had brought backup girls. I thought I'd find you both here. Mom swept in, carrying a garment bag. Sophia, honey, I picked up your dress from the closet at home. I figured we could do a quick fitting with Isabella right now. My throat tightened. They'd already taken it from my childhood home. Without asking, I watched frozen as Mom unzipped the bag, revealing the ivory lace I'd fallen in love with.
Mom.
I managed. You went into my room. Don't be dramatic, sweetie or family. She held the dress up to Isabella, who was already shrugging off her jacket. Oh, it's perfect. Even better than on you.
Sophia.
The color really suits Isabella's complexion. I grabbed my phone, texting Samantha SOS, come over now. I haven't said yes. I said, but they weren't listening. Isabella was already stepping into my dress. Mom helping her zip up the back. Oh my God. Isabella gasped, twirling in front of my mirror. It's like it was made for me. You look absolutely stunning. Mom gushed. Sophia, isn't your sister beautiful? I stared at my dress hugging my sister's frame. The dress I'd worked overtime to afford, the dress I'd dreamed about wearing while dancing with Nicholas. Take it off. I said quietly. What? Isabella turned, frowning. I said, take it off. It's my dress. I bought it for my wedding. Mom sighed, that familiar, disappointed sigh. Sophia, don't be selfish. Your sister needs it first, and you know how important this is to her. Important to her. My voice rose. What about what's important to me? Just once you're being ridiculous. Isabella said, smoothing the lace over her hips. It's just a dress, and you know I'll take better care of it. Then the door burst open. Samantha stood there, taking in the scene with narrowed eyes. What the hell is going on? Perfect timing. Isabella beamed. Sam, doesn't this dress look amazing on me? Samantha walked straight to me, placing herself between me and my family. Mrs. Elijah, with all due respect, that dress belongs to Sophia. You can't just take it. We're not taking it. Mom protested. We're borrowing it for family. Sophia. Samantha turned to me, her voice firm. What do you want? I looked at my sister, resplendent in my stolen dress, at my mother, ready to defend her golden child, at my best friend, the only one who ever seemed to see me.
Keep it,
I said finally. Sophia, Samantha started. No, really, keep it. Isabella, you always get what you want anyway, right? What's one more thing?
Don't be dramatic.
Isabella rolled her eyes. I'll give it back. Perfect condition. I'm sure you will. I met her eyes in the mirror. I hope it brings you exactly what you deserve. Mom clapped her hands. See, that's the spirit now, Isabella. Let's talk about alterations. After they left with my dress, Samantha turned to me. Tell me you're not really okay with this. I walked to my window, watching Isabella carefully load my dress into her car. You know what's funny? For the first time, I actually am okay with it because I finally know exactly what I'm going to do. That look in your eyes is terrifying. Samantha said. I love it. What's the plan? I turned to her, smiling. How much do you know about garden fountain systems? Not much, but I'm willing to learn.
She grinned.
Are we about to be evil, not evil? I corrected, pulling out my laptop. Just karmic. Did you know? Isabella chose the same garden venue where she once ruined my Sweet 17, the one with the beautiful central fountain. Oh my God. Samantha laughed. This is going to be good, isn't it? I started typing, my smile growing wider. Let's just say my dress isn't the only thing that's going to look perfect on Isabella's big day. You want me to? What? Nichols stared at me across our kitchen table, coffee cup frozen halfway to his mouth. Just keep Ashton busy. During the rehearsal dinner, I repeated, sliding him a piece of toast. Take him for drinks afterward. That's all while you and Sam do something to the fountain. He set his cup down carefully. Sophia. Honey, are you sure about this? Samantha sprawled on our couch, laptop, balanced on her knees.
Got it, she called out.
The maintenance schedule shows they service the fountain every Tuesday. That means it'll be exactly 4 days before the wedding. When they do the final check, I squeezed Nicholas's hand.
Trust me.
I'm not going to do anything dangerous or illegal, just karmic like your sweet 17. He raised an eyebrow when Isabella accidentally spilled punch all over your dress right before your first dance.
Exactly like that.
I pulled up a chair next to Samantha.
Show me what you found.
She turned a laptop toward me. The fountain runs on a pretty basic system. All we need is access to the control panel in about 15 minutes. And you know how to do this, because my cousin's a landscaper, she grinned. I called in a favor, he explained. Everything, pressure valves, timing mechanisms, the work's simple adjustments, nothing permanent. Nicholas came to peer over our shoulders, so when you say adjustments, just a slight increase in water pressure. I explained, timed perfectly for the vows. When Isabella's standing there in my dress, right in front of the fountain splash, Samantha finished with a flourish. You're both insane, Nicholas said. But I could see the corner of his mouth twitching, and I'm probably going to hell for finding this funny. My phone buzzed a text from Isabella dressfitting. Tomorrow Mom says you should come show support. Speaking of hell, I muttered, showing them the message. Perfect. Samantha sat up straight. While you're at the fitting, I can scout the venue. The wedding coordinator knows me as your +1 anyway, and I'll take Ashton for lunch. Nicholas added. Keep him distracted. Maybe subtly suggest taking photos by the fountain during the ceremony. I looked at him in surprise.
You're in.
He pulled me close, kissing my forehead. Babe, I've watched Isabella and your parents treat you like a second-class citizen for years. If this is how you need to handle it, I'm with you. Just promise me. You won't do anything you can't come back from. Promise. I hugged him tight. It's just water, expensive dress water, but still just water. The next day I sat in the bridal boutique watching Isabella preen in my dress. She'd already had it taken in the lace, adjusted to huger curves. It needs more sparkle, Mom declared. Maybe we could add some crystals along the neckline.
Mom. No.
I started, but Isabella was already nodding. Brilliant idea, nothing too gaudy, just enough to make it pop.
Sophia, you don't mind, right?
We'll pay for the additions. I thought about the fountain, about perfect timing and karmic justice. Whatever you think is best. Isabella, it's your day after all. My phone lit up with a text from Samantha, venue scouted. You won't believe where they keep the control panel. This is almost too easy. Sophia, Mom's voice cut through my thoughts. Are you even paying attention? We're discussing the alterations.
Sorry.
I smiled sweetly. Just wedding planning stuff of my own. You know, for next year, when I was supposed to wear that dress. A flicker of guilt crossed Noah's face, so brief I almost missed it. Then she was back to her usual self. Oh, please, you can find another dress. This one was meant for me. Look how perfect it is. She twirled in front of the mirror, the ivory lace catching the light. I had to admit, she did look beautiful, like a princess in a fairy tale. Too bad about the upcoming plot twist. My phone buzzed again. Samantha got the timing down during the vows. You'll need to be standing by the east pillar. That's your cue spot. What are you smiling about? Isabella asked, adjusting her veil. Just thinking about your perfect day. I said, truthfully. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. Mom beamed, proud of my apparent acceptance. That's the spirit, honey, family first, right?
Right.
I agreed, typing back to Samantha. Everything set operation. Karma is a go. I watched Isabella admire herself in the mirror, remembering every slight, every time she'd taken something that was mine. Every moment our parents had chosen her over me. In 3 weeks, she'd have her perfect wedding in her perfect venue, wearing my perfect dress. And for once in our lives, I'd be the one calling the shots. The night before the wedding, our family gathered at Mom and Dad's house for what Mom called a special dinner. I knew what that meant. Another Isabella show. Remember Sophia's 7th birthday? Isabella laughed, swirling her wine when she tried to blow out my candles. They were my candles. I corrected, stabbing at my salad. It was my birthday party. You just decided you wanted to blow them out too. Did I? Isabella frowned. Mom? Wasn't that my party? Mom patted Isabella's hand. Darling, doesn't matter. You girls shared everything back then. Shared, I muttered. Nicholas squeezed my knee under the table. Speaking of sharing, Dad said, raising his glass. I want to make a toast to my beautiful daughter. On the eve of her wedding. Isabella, you've always been our shining star. I set down my fork with a clatter. The room went quiet. Sophia, Mom's voice held a warning. No, please continue. I said. Tell us more about your shining star. Maybe about how she shared my prom date, or how about when she borrowed my college acceptance letter to show her friends before I even saw it. That's ancient history. Isabella waved dismissively. Why are you being so dramatic?
Dramatic.
I laughed. You're wearing my wedding dress tomorrow, girls. Dad intervened. Let's not ruin the evening. My phone buzzed Samantha. Everything's set for tomorrow. You sure about this? I looked at my family. Dad avoiding conflict as usual, Mom fawning over Isabella, and my sister somehow managing to look both innocent and smug at the same time. I need some air. I announced, pushing back from the table. Nicholas started to rise, but I shook my head. I needed to be alone in the backyard. I sat on the old swing set, the one where Isabella had once pushed me off, breaking my arm. It was an accident. Everyone had said, like everything else. Penny for your thoughts. I turned to see Dad, hands in his pockets, looking uncomfortable.
Save it.
For Isabella's wedding gift. I said. He sighed, settling onto the swing beside me. You know, when you girls were little, your mother and I thought we were doing the right thing. Isabella was so demanding. We figured you were the strong one, the one who could handle getting less attention, and that makes it okay. No, he said quietly, it doesn't. We sat in silence, the chains creaking softly. That dress, he started. Don't I know you bought it yourself? I saw the receipts, the extra shifts you picked up. He kicked at the dirt. I should have helped. Yeah. I agreed. You should have. My phone lit up again. Samantha sending the final timing details for tomorrow. I thought about the fountain, about revenge, about justice. Dad. I said suddenly, do you remember my sweet 17? He winced. The punch incident. Isabella said it was an accident. It wasn't. She told me later she did it because she thought I was getting too much attention. Sophia, and tomorrow she's wearing my dress. The one thing I wanted that was just mine. I stood up. So tell me, Dad, what would you do? He looked at me for a long moment. Something's going to happen tomorrow, isn't it? I met his gaze steadily. Maybe karma's finally catching up. He nodded slowly, then reached into his wallet and pulled out a check. Here. What's this for your dress? The one you bought yourself. Whatever happens tomorrow, you deserve to have your own perfect day. I stared at the check, throat tight. Little late. Don't you think better late than never? He attempted a smile. Just be careful tomorrow. Okay. Your mother's heart isn't what it used to be. I tucked the check into my pocket. Don't worry, Dad. Everything will be exactly as it should be. Back inside, Isabella was showing Mom her something borrowed, a diamond bracelet from Ashton's mother. The irony made me want to scream. Sophia. She called out, there you are. I need you to help me with my final fitting tonight. One last sister. Moment before the big day. I thought about the fountain, about karma, about Dad's belated attempt at making things right. For a moment I wavered. Then Isabella added, the dress might need a few more adjustments. You don't mind if we make some more changes, right? And just like that, my resolve hardened. Of course not. I smiled. Tomorrow should be absolutely perfect. Nicholas caught my eye across the room, raising an eyebrow in question. I gave him a slight nod. The plan was still on tomorrow. Karma would make its grand entrance right on schedule. The garden looked like something out of a fairy tale. White chairs lined the path to the altar, rose petals scattered everywhere, and the fountain. Our star player burbled innocently behind the wedding arch. Everything's ready, Samantha whispered, joining me in the bridal suite. I double-checked the timing during Till Death Do Us Part. That fountain's going to put on quite a show. I watched Isabella twirl in my dress, now adorned with crystals and pearls. She'd added, Mom fussed over her veil while the makeup artist applied final touches. You're being awfully quiet. Sophia. Mom noted everything. Okay, just taking it all in. I smiled, checking my phone. A text from Nicholas Ashton's in position convinced him the fountain backdrop would be perfect for photos. Girls, the wedding coordinator poked her head in. We're starting in 15 minutes places. Please, Isabella grabbed my hands, suddenly looking vulnerable. You'll be right behind me. Right as my maid of honor. For a split second I saw my sister, the real Isabella, not the entitled princess she'd become. I remembered us as kids building blanket forts, sharing secrets before the competition, before the favoritism, before everything went wrong. Sophia. Her voice wavered. Right behind you, I assured her, pushing the memories away. Where else would I be? The music started. I took my place in line, watching as the bridesmaids proceeded. One by one, Samantha squeezed my arm as she passed, whispering, "East Pillar, don't forget." Then came Isabella, radiant in my dress, Mom and Dad on either side. The guests gasped appropriately. I followed, counting steps, watching the fountain spray, catching the sunlight. The ceremony began. I barely heard the priest's words. 3 focused on timing, on watching the water pressure. On the way, my dress caught the light. On Isabella's frame, the couple has written their own vows. The priest announced. Ashton went first, his words sweet and sincere. I almost felt bad about what was coming, almost. Then Isabella started speaking. Ashton, from the moment we met, I knew you were mine, just like I've always known what I wanted and always gotten it. I caught Dad's eye from the front row. He gave me a slight nod as if he knew, and I promised to always be the center of your world. My phone vibrated. Samantha's signal. I shifted toward the East Pillar, until death do us part. The fountain spray pattern changed subtly. A few guests glanced back, noticing the shift in sound. I do. Isabella finished beaming. The priest opened his mouth for the final blessing. 3, 2, 1. A massive surge of water shot upward, catching the sunlight like diamonds. For one crystalline moment it was beautiful. Then gravity took over. The water came down like a miniature monsoon, drenching Isabella Ashton and the immediate wedding party. My dress. Her dress went from ivory to transparent. In seconds, her perfectly styled hair collapsed. The added crystals caught the water like tiny prisms, creating rainbow effects. As she shrieked my dress, she screamed the fountain.
Someone do something.
Chaos erupted. Guests jumped up, some running for cover, others trying to help. The wedding coordinator frantically radioed for maintenance through it all. I stood dry and safe by my pillar. Watching karma unfold the control panel, someone shouted, "Where's the shutoff?" "This is horrible," Mom cried, trying to shield Isabella with a tablecloth. Who could have done this? I caught Samantha trying to suppress her laughter behind a flower arrangement. Nicholas, standing with the groomsmen, carefully kept his face neutral.
Wait,
Isabella said, suddenly turning to face me. Her mascara ran in black rivers down her cheeks. You're the only one who's dry." The fountain spluttered to a stop, but the damage was done. My dress clung to her like a wet tissue, the added decorations hanging sadly. "What are you talking about?" I asked innocently. "It's just a malfunction, like my punch. Spill is just an accident," she hissed low enough that only I could hear. We stared at each other, years of rivalry and resentment crystallizing in that moment. She knew I knew she knew, and she knew. I knew she knew well. I said quietly, "I guess some things are just meant to be shared."
Right.
"You little Isabella," honey, Mom interrupted, rushing over with more towels. "Let's get you inside and dried off. We can still salvage this." As they hustled her away, I heard her say, "I want Sophia out of here now." I caught Dad's eye again. He shook his head slightly, but I saw the ghost of a smile. The wedding coordinator approached me, looking frazzled. "We'll need about an hour to reset. Could you help coordinate the guests?" "Of course," I said. After all, it's my sister's perfect day. What else could go wrong behind me? Thunder rumbled ominously. I hadn't planned for rain, but sometimes karma has its own ideas. The next hour was chaos incarnate. While the wedding coordinator scrambled to move everything indoors, I watched from the venue's covered porch as the storm rolled in. Perfect timing wasn't just karma anymore. It was biblical. "Did you order the rain too?" Samantha appeared beside me, holding 3 glasses of champagne. "That's all Mother Nature," I said, accepting a glass. though I appreciate her enthusiasm inside. I could hear Isabella's wailers echoing from the bridal suite. It's ruined. The dress is ruined. Everything is ruined. Speaking of enthusiasm, Samantha muttered. The door burst open and Mom stormed out. Sophia, get in here now. I handed my champagne back to Samantha. Showtime. The bridal suite looked like a war zone. My dress, now a sad, soaked mess, lay crumpled in the corner. Isabella sat in her slip, mascara, stained face buried in her hands, while 3 attendants frantically tried to salvage her hair. Fix this, Mom demanded. Fix what, I asked, examining my nails. Don't play innocent. Isabella spat, looking up. You did this. You ruined my wedding? Did I prove it? I don't need to prove it. You're the only one who wasn't soaked. You were standing by that pillar smirking. Lucky coincidence, I shrugged, like when you spilled punch on my sweet 17 dress, or when you accidentally deleted my college acceptance email before I could read it, or how about when you borrowed my prom date? That was different. Isabella stood up, sending hairpins flying. Those were accidents. Were they I stepped closer? Or were they just you always needing to be the center of attention, always taking what's mine? Girls. Mom started. No, Mom. I cut her off. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about how Isabella took my dress, the one I paid for myself, how you helped her take it, how you've both always taken whatever you wanted from me because family shares. And no one needs it more. I needed that dress. Isabella screamed. It was perfect. It was mine. Thunder crashed outside, making everyone jump. In the silence that followed, I could hear whispers from the guests in the hallway. You want to know something funny? I said, quieter now. I actually considered stopping it right before the fountain went off, watching you say your vows. I almost called it off, but you didn't. Isabella said bitterly. No, because you had to learn that you can't always take what isn't yours without consequences. Mom's voice shook. Sophia, do you realize what you've done? You've ruined your sister's wedding. No, Mom. I ruined her stolen moment. There's a difference. A knock at the door. Dad poked his head in. The guests are getting restless. What should I tell them? Isabella burst into fresh tears. My wedding is destroyed. Oh, stop being dramatic, I said, surprising myself with how calm I felt. Your dress is wet, not destroyed. The venue has industrial dryers. You can still get married today in a damp dress. She shrieked. Better than no dress at all, I pointed out, which is what I'll have for my wedding now. Dad cleared his throat about that. I made some calls that boutique you originally bought from. They're holding another dress for you. Different style. But they said it's even better than the first one. Everyone turned to stare at him. You what? Mom asked. It was the least I could do, he said, meeting my eyes after everything. Isabella looked between us. Realization dawning. You knew, she accused. Dad, you knew she was planning this. I knew something was coming, he admitted. Can't say I blamed her. This is insane. Mom sputtered. We're family. We're supposed to support each other. Exactly. I said. Support, not take, not steal, not always favor one over the other. Another knock. The wedding coordinator. This time the dryers are ready and we've reset the indoor ceremony space. It's actually quite lovely with the rain as a backdrop. Should we proceed? Isabella looked at her reflection in the mirror. Makeup, ruined hair, a mess, my dress hanging limply on its hanger. Then she looked at me. You know what? Yes, we'll proceed. She stood straighter. Get me dried off, fix my makeup, and let's do this. But Sophia, yes, after today, we're done, sister or not, we're done. I nodded, feeling oddly light. Seems fair. Need help with your makeup. Get out. I turned to leave, then paused at the door for what it's worth. Isabella, I really did love that dress. Outside, Samantha waited with our rescued champagne. Well, the wedding will go on, I said, taking my glass back, but I just lost a sister. No, Samantha corrected, clicking her glass against mine. You just found yourself. The rain continued to fall, washing everything clean. The indoor ceremony went ahead as planned, though not quite. The fairy Talili Isabella had envisioned my dress, while mostly dry, had lost its pristine look. The added crystals hung limply, some missing entirely. Still, she walked down the makeshift aisle chin high, deliberately not looking in my direction. I stood at the back, no longer part of the wedding party. Nicholas had his arm around my waist, keeping me steady. You okay? He whispered before I could answer. Mom appeared beside us. Sophia, we need to talk, not now. Mom, yes now. She grabbed my arm, pulling me toward an empty hallway. Nicholas started to follow, but I waved him off. How could you? She hissed once we were alone. Your own sister. That's rich coming from you. I leaned against the wall, suddenly tired. When was the last time you actually treated me like your daughter, Mom? Not just Isabella's backup, not just the reliable one, but your daughter. Don't turn this around on me. You deliberately sabotaged. Her wedding is still happening. I cut in. She's still getting married. The only thing I ruined was her perfect moment in my stolen dress. It wasn't stolen. It was borrowed without asking, without my permission. Just like everything else in our lives, Mom's face crumpled. I don't understand where this bitterness comes from. We gave you everything you gave Isabella, everything I corrected. I got whatever was left over, and you know what the worst part is? You don't even see it. That's not true, really. When I got engaged, you barely acknowledged it. When I bought my dress by myself with my own money, you helped Isabella take it. When was the last time you were proud of me? Mom, just me, not in comparison to Isabella. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. Can't think of one.
Can you?
From the ceremony room, we heard applause. The vows must have finished.
Well.
Mom straightened her jacket. I hope you're happy your sister will never forgive you for this. Maybe not, I agreed. But, for the first time in my life, I forgive myself for not being her. What's that supposed to mean? It means I'm done trying to be the perfect sister, the understanding daughter, the one who always gives in. I'm done being invisible. Dad appeared at the end of the hallway. They're about to do photos. Sophia, maybe you should go. I nodded, but Mom grabbed my arm again. This isn't over. Actually, it is. I gently removed her hand. I've already called the boutique. They're holding a new dress for me. One that's just mine.
Dad's right.
It's time for me to go. You're choosing to leave your sister's wedding. No, Mom. I'm choosing myself. Maybe for the first time ever. I found Nicholas and Samantha by the entrance through the windows. I could see the rain had stopped, leaving everything fresh and clean ready. Nicholas asked.
Wait.
Dad's voice behind us. He held out an envelope. Your mother. She doesn't understand yet, but I do.
Take this.
Inside was a check enough for 3 dresses. Dad, get whatever you want, he said. Gruff, whatever makes you happy, and Sophia, I'm sorry for everything. I hugged him, breathing in the familiar scent of his aftershave. I know, will you be at Sunday dinner next week, he asked. I don't think that's a good idea. Not for a while. He nodded sadly. We'll figure something out. Maybe just you and me. Sometimes I'd like that. As we walked to the car, I heard Isabella's voice carrying across the parking lot. Where is she? She can't just leave. Watch me. I muttered. Samantha linked her arm through mine. So, dress shopping tomorrow, actually. I smiled. I'm thinking of wearing a suit to my wedding. Something completely different. Something that's totally me. Nicholas laughed. Now that I'd love to see. We drove away as the photographer arranged Isabella's wedding party by the now peaceful fountain in my rearview mirror. I watched my sister straighten her borrowed dress one last time, still trying to perfect an imperfect moment. You know what's funny? I said as we turned onto the main road. I actually feel lighter. That's what happens when you stop carrying someone else's expectations. Samantha said wisely. My phone buzzed, a text from Dad. Proud of you, kiddo, always have been. Maybe some things had to fall apart before they could come together properly. Maybe sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all, but finally standing up and saying enough. And maybe, just maybe, karma works in mysterious ways, not just to punish, but to set things right. The boutique's bell chimed as I pushed open the door. Samantha and Mom, following behind. The awkward tension between them was thick enough to cut with a knife. I still think this is a mistake, Mom said, eyeing the suits on display. A bride should wear a dress.
Good thing.
It's not your wedding. Then I turned to the consultant approaching us.
Hi.
I have an appointment to try on suits. Mom sighed dramatically, but took a seat. It had taken 3 missed Sunday dinners, 3 heart-to-hearts with Dad, and 1 very loud phone argument before she'd agreed to come.
Today.
Progress was progress, even if it came with running commentary. The consultant brought out several options. I barely slipped into the first one, a classic white tuxedo with satin lapels, when the boutique's door chimed again. "Sorry, I'm late," Dad called out traffic as he stopped short staring at me. "Wow, keto. You like it?" He nodded, eyes suspiciously bright. "You look like yourself." "Finally, it's certainly different." Mom managed. "Different is good." Samantha said firmly. "Different means it's truly Sophia's choice." I turned to the mirror, adjusting the jacket. No lace, no crystals, no borrowed expectations, just me. "Speaking of choices," Mom said carefully, "Isabella asked about you yesterday." The room went quiet. I continued, adjusting my cuffs, keeping my voice neutral.
Did she?
"She and Ashton are back from their honeymoon. She mentioned maybe getting coffee."
Mom.
I warned, "I'm not pushing. I've been thinking about what you said about always favoring her, about making you invisible." She twisted her hands in her lap. "Maybe you weren't entirely wrong." I met her eyes in the mirror. "Maybe okay. You weren't wrong at all." She stood up, moving to stand beside me. "Looking at you now in this suit. That's so perfectly you. I realize I never really saw you before. I was so busy trying to make you fit what I thought you should be. What Isabella was that I missed who you actually are." Mom, let me finish. "When you stood up to us at the wedding, it scared me, not because of what you did to the fountain, though that was quite something, but because it was the first time I saw you clearly, and I realized how much I'd missed." Dad cleared his throat.
We both did.
"Akito." I turned away from the mirror to face them properly.
"So what now?"
Mom said, reaching for my hand. "We start over if you'll let us, and if you want to meet Isabella for coffee, well, that's your choice. No pressure, no expectations, and no more taking things that aren't hers. No more
Taking anything."
Mama agreed. Though she did say to tell you she's sorry about the dress and the punch and the prom date and the college letter. I couldn't help but laugh. "That's quite a list. You made quite an impression with that fountain." The consultant brought out another suit option, this one with a subtle pattern woven into the fabric that caught the light. "Just so, try this one," Samantha suggested. "It reminds me of water." Everyone groaned, but I was already reaching for it. Too soon. Never too soon to own your moment. Dad grinned. As I changed, I heard Mom asking Samantha about the wedding plans, actually listening to the answers. Dad chimed in with suggestions about the venue. Maybe somewhere without fountains, and for the first time it felt like my wedding, my choices, my family. Finally seeing me, the new suit fit perfectly, like it had been waiting for me all along. Standing there surrounded by people who were finally looking at me instead of past me, I realized something. Karma wasn't just about revenge or justice. Sometimes it was about breaking patterns, about standing up and demanding to be seen.
"Well,"
I asked, turning to face them all. "What do you think? It's perfect," Mom said. And this time she meant it. "Just like you. Does this mean I can wear a suit to Sunday dinner?" "Don't push it," she warned. But she was smiling. My phone buzzed, a text from Isabella. "The coffee offer is real. No drama, no competition, just sisters.
If you want."
I showed the message to Samantha, who shrugged. "Your choice. Always your choice." Now I typed back, "Maybe, but I'm ordering my own drink." The response came quickly. "Fair enough. I deserve that." Looking around the boutique at Mom, actually helping instead of controlling, at Dad, beaming with pride, at Samantha, plotting more mischief, I realized that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. Sometimes it's simply becoming who you were always meant to be and letting everyone else adjust to that truth. So I said, straightening my lapels, about those wedding. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories that inspire, move, and remind us all of the beauty in life's unexpected moments. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another heartwarming tale. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next story.